The fifth-generation Nexus smartphone is finally landing on doorsteps around the globe, and the fifth-generation Apple iPad is doing the same. Since last week's podcasts unfortunately fell on the morning of the Nexus 5's release date, rendering the show full of leaks and rumors outdated in record time, we thought we'd give it another go. So, today, we're talking Nexus 5 and iPad Air on episode 069 of the Pocketnow Weekly, the once-a-week audio podcast where we discuss smartphones, tablets, and the state of mobile technology in 2013. I'm your host, Michael Fisher, editorial director at Pocketnow, and today, here to help us cover two of the hottest devices in tech, is a special guest, veteran podcaster and senior mobile editor at Engadget, our new friend, Brad Molen. Welcome to the Weekly, sir.
Hi, it's great to be here, and I am especially honored to be on episode 69. Is that right?
You are correct. I was wondering. I thought a commenter might beat you to the joke, but I'm glad that we got that out of the way right up front.
He called dibs before the show, just in case anybody's wondering.
And like you just said 69, I'm like, what?
That other mystery voice, of course, you all know, if you're regular listeners, you all know Taylor, the anti-segue Martin. Good afternoon to you down in Super Carolina. How are you doing?
Hello.
We are in a weird mood, right? Because we're recording this in the afternoon, and we usually don't. We usually record this in the morning.
Yeah, so I went to go fill up my water cup like right before we hit record, and
you're like, why am I not getting more coffee? What's going on?
No, I'm walking down the hall, and I can see out like this tiny little window at the end of the hall, and I see the sun just set over the trees, and my heart sank with it. Like I was just like, yeah, this is wrong. It's 5:20 in the afternoon, and the sun's gone.
Yeah,
I know.
So,
anytime I take review shots, I always have to think about that. Like, oh, I've got plenty of time. I can do this like 5 in the evening. Nope.
But to everyone who's just showing up to hear whether they've won our Nexus 5 giveaway, by the way, welcome to you. We're going to do, Taylor, have we decided exactly when we're going to put that announcement for the giveaway?
What giveaway? Just kidding. I'm
this
kidding.
Nexus 5 of which you speak.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think anyone. Actually, I think I won this. I don't know.
You think you won the Nexus 5? Yeah. Did you enter? So we're giving. If you're not aware, don't try and rush to enter now. If you're already hearing the podcast, the winner's already been selected. Sorry, we had something like 85,000 submissions, which is
crazy,
nuts. And it's awesome. And
84,000 of those were me.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry about all the Twitter followers you lost broadcasting our spam. But it was an awesome turnout. Everyone, thank you for coming out and participating. We're not going to make you listen to the entire show in order to do it. We're going to make you listen to some of it before you hear the announcement. And God help me, the minute one of you posts a time code in the comments, I'm going to find you. End you. I'm going to end you.
You have anger issues today.
I do not. I'm just weird. So anyway, let's move on. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everyone coming from Engadget. I understand, Brad, before we get started, I understand there's a big event that you're going to under the auspices of Engadget starting tomorrow. You want to tell us about that?
That's right. It's Engadget Expand, and it's taking place in New York at the Javits Center, I believe it is. Now, if I tortured that name, I'm sorry. I am not a native of New York City.
You said it right. It brought back fond memories of life on Long Island. Yes, the Javits.
Well, I'm glad I could help with that. Is that a good thing?
It is.
Life on Long Island?
I lived in the nice part. It's all right. Yes.
Okay, good.
Lived in the country. But
glad you weren't living in the slums or anything. So
what happens? But let's pretend that we don't know what Engadget Expand is. Tell anybody out there who's confused suddenly.
Sure. Engadget Expand is a conference where you can come for a couple days, and we have a whole bunch of awesome speakers and other companies who have booths there. So basically, if you're a geek and you just love playing around with some of the latest and greatest electronics, or you just love hearing from some of the best minds out there, then Expand is a good place for you to be, because you're going to be able to play with a lot of toys.
Yes.
And you're going to hear from some awesome people. We got some people from, and honestly, I haven't even kept track of all the speakers because there's a ton of them. But one person I'm really excited to hear from is LeVar Burton.
What? Jordy LaForge is going to be there?
Geordie LaForge. I am going to get to meet LeVar Burton.
Oh,
Geordie LaForge.
God.
Reading Rainbow guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to call him.
See if you can get him to do an honorary barrel roll under the door.
You know what I want him to do? And I don't know if we can make this happen, but I want LeVar Burton to wear a Google Glass, and I want to get a picture of it.
Oh my God! Yes,
think about it.
Perfect.
Like
he has to have done that already.
With Google Glass.
If it hasn't happened, if Google didn't send him a Google Glass review unit as the number one person on the list, they're doing something really wrong. That is a solid idea. Wow! Now I want to go.
Don't you know they don't send out review units? You have to pay $1,500 to get.
You know what? They should have footed Geordie's bill for that. They should have free Google Glass. I'm sure it's entirely possible they did. Anyway, go to Engadget Expand if you can. If you're in the New York City area, is it all sold out at this point, or what?
No, there are still plenty of tickets available. I don't know how many, but I know that it's still open.
Well, fun fact: an Engadget meetup, an Engadget reader meetup, is the first event I ever attended. Like before before I ever went to like a CES or an MWC or an IFA or anything. The 2010, I think, Engadget reader meetup was in New York City. It was my first exposure to the world of the physical world of mobile tech pressiness. Were you?
Yeah, he was also.
Go ahead, Taylor.
I was going to say you were also the first person that they kicked out for being too stupid.
No, we let all the stupid people.
Yeah, no, there were plenty of stupid people there.
It just makes us look smarter, you know?
Right. Oh, it was a great time. The Palm was there. The Pre-2. I got to have hands-on time with the Pre-2 before it was released.
That's an experience you'll never forget.
It's true. It's true. Those memories are seared in there wonderfully.
Like anytime you think about your time with the Pre-2, like do you have the Dirty Dancing song going on in the background?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with me and soundtracks today. Like honestly,
I wish I could throw them behind I wish I could include them. We actually have one new sound effect on the show today. It's a drum roll, and it comes later on. It's going to be great.
Well, very nice.
You announce the winner.
So I just got to plug this as well because there is one other person that Star Trek fans will be really happy about who's speaking at Expand, and that is David Gerold, who is the Trouble. Yeah, he's the guy who did Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes. Oh, that's seriously.
He's the man.
Oh man, that is like one of the most iconic episodes of the original Star Trek series. Listeners, if you did not watch it, and we have a big international audience, and Star Trek is kind of an American thing. So anyway, little fuzzy balls take over the ship, and hilarity ensues, and also Klingons and drinking, and etc. and sex jokes. I think.
Well, naturally.
Yeah.
You got to have those.
I cannot believe it. Well, I'm super jealous now. Actually, I think I was trying to find a way to go to Expand, and I couldn't do it. So.
And Spike Lee is going to be there too.
That's exciting. Maybe that's something Taylor Martin get excited about. I think he's fallen asleep because we've talked so much Star Trek in the past 3 minutes. Taylor,
I don't even know what's happening. Are we still podcasting?
No. Taylor, are you not a Star Trek guy?
I'm not. I think it was just I was born in the wrong decade, so.
That's all right. Yeah, you were growing up when Star Trek was slowly withering on the vine.
I was growing up when Star Trek was being entered into digital museums.
Wait a second. You're about the same age as I am, aren't you? How old are you?
How old are you? Let's ask that question first.
I am 32.
Yeah, no. You have 9 years on me.
Taylor is young enough that Brandon Miniman was able to troll me using a CES email. Did we talk about this on the show?
No, he wasn't trolling. I think he was serious.
You trolled him.
I trolled him.
Yeah.
He asked if I was 21 because
Brandon shoots me an email and he's like, "Hey, I'm a little concerned about Taylor at CES. Is he going to feel left out if we're all drinking?" I'm like, "What? What is he, a teetotaler?" Like, what? He's like, "No, isn't he like 19?" I'm like, "No, Taylor's not 19. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, we had drinks at Las Vegas this year in January. We went out together like 3 times.
Well, at this point, listeners, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are totally unintentionally but still actively trolling all of you and putting off technology talk in the hope of irritating giveaway contestants. No, that's not true.
We talked about Google Glass. Come on.
We did. Listen, I hope Expand is awesome. I'm going to ask you again before the end of the show, but let's kick off the main program if we can. And the way we're going to do this is talk Nexus 5 first, and then we're going to go to listener mail, and then we're going to talk the iPad Air. And the reason we're doing listener mail right in the middle is because no one wrote in asking anything about the iPad. So it makes... isn't that the saddest thing ever? I don't understand.
I don't know if that is or if Brandon's latest tweet is.
What was Brandon's latest tweet?
New M&M is top notch.
Yes. Well, I someday want to do a long think piece on Apple and fan reactions to Apple. We're going to talk a little bit about this when we get into iPad Air. I just don't get this sport that is hating on Apple. But anyway, we have no listener mail regarding the iPads. We have a ton regarding the Nexus 5. So let's talk about the Nexus 5. Sound good?
Let's do it.
We are in the midst of making our review. The reason we're recording at this hour is partially because I had to film another comparison all day. We have our Moto X versus Nexus 5 comparison up. The Nexus 5 versus HTC One is going to go up shortly after this podcast does. And then we're going to follow that with, I think, Nexus 4 versus Nexus 5. We're doing our usual comparison run in the run-up to our full review. But Brad has already reviewed the Nexus 5. It is out as of... It's
because he's a tryhard.
So it's live. I have read it. As with most Brad Molen reviews, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I kind of just want to let you... I want to hear your impressions on the phone. I've read your review. I've read your wrap-up. The link is in the description. But, I mean, is this a phone you yourself would carry? Why or why not? Brad Molen.
It is a glorious phone. I'm not going to lie. Like,
don't lie.
When I think
dare lie on this program.
Well, I could. You just, I mean, you may never know. Because I'm just so sincere about it.
I know.
So, when the Nexus 4 came out, I was really, really happy because, and there were a few reasons. Number one, you've got a very good phone for $300 at a baseline. That just had a couple things that it really needed to improve on. And I felt if they had just improved on those kind of things, we would have a perfect phone at a perfect price. And the Nexus 4 was also a super popular phone with a lot of the people that were not in the geek circles, if you will. And so one of my biggest takeaways with the Nexus 4 was this was really the first device that was pushing, especially here in the U.S., was pushing people to go prepaid, just to get rid of their contracts, pay full price for a phone, and have a really good experience with it. And the reason why I bring this up is because the Nexus 5 essentially took a lot of those issues and improved upon them and really didn't do anything about raising the price. And if you think about it, $350 for the 16 gig is exactly the cost for the 16 gig Nexus 4.
Right.
So we're looking at the same price. We're just getting more storage capability.
Yeah, no,
for $400.
That's kind of the new Nexus story, right? I mean, Google has talked to some people about this. I think they talked to The Verge about it in depth, about what the Nexus program means these days. And among other things, it's basically delivering a really high-end smartphone experience at a very, very low price point, which is, of course, the most compelling thing you could possibly think of, right?
Right. I do find some of this ironic, though, because when you think about Android 4.4, and part of its mission is to bring Android to a lot of lower-end devices. And by that, I mean an actual good Android experience. So you have a device that's 500 megs of RAM, for example, and generally you're not going to have the same experience as you would with Snapdragon 800. It's just not going to happen. But one of Google's main missions with KitKat is just the fact that you would be able to have ultimately just as good a user experience with a lower-end device.
Right, and it would be like Windows Phone, like where it kind of doesn't matter what hardware is powering it. It's unified.
That's a very
experience.
Good. Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it. And for them to say, you know what, the Nexus is great for the high end. Okay, well, show us what you can do with the lower end devices. I would love to see a Nexus that actually has an appeal to, say like $150 or $100 price point.
Yeah, like a Lumia 520.
Lumia 520. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Right. Now, I know it's weird that I'm saying, hey, I absolutely love the Nexus 5, but you know what we really need is a phone with lower performance. I mean, that's not exactly what I'm trying to get at, but I do think that Google is missing out on a huge area of emphasis here.
Yeah, I mean, they are in a branding sense and in a Nexus family sense, but I mean that's being taken care of on the low end by a lot of OEMs out there. I mean, they can't all be bad, right? All these Android phones that we see on the shelves for like $200 unlocked, I mean, 90% of them are awful, right? But there's got to be some gems out there, right? I mean, I don't think it's the Galaxy Ace, but there's got to be something.
HTC first? Well, it's not. I mean, I guess it's still in the 350, 450 range.
Oh, that's a good point.
Alcatel is starting to come out with some really good phones that are appealing. There's Blue, which is another really good one.
Yes, I got my hands on a Blue device the other day, courtesy of
They're not too shabby, huh?
No, I was surprised, and I didn't know anything about Blue at the time, so I was asking. I was like, "Where are they based?" And I'm expecting to hear, Taipei or something like that, and he's like, "No,
Miami."
Yeah, Miami." I'm like, "What? Florida?" So anyway, but you're right. If the promise of the Nexus program, and specifically 4.4 KitKat, is to be able to bring that high-end Android experience, or not high-end, but that responsiveness of a high-end device to a lower-end device, I agree. I think that we should see that. I hope we see that soon. But I can't get past. I'm looking at the thing. I'm holding it right now, and
I hate you.
I just Taylor's so mad. You're going to get it soon, bro. Don't worry. You're going to get to compare it against your favorite phone. Oh, sad.
Sigh.
That is not my favorite phone. Let's be honest here.
Taylor Martin will be handling our comparison with the Galaxy S4. Brad. So that's
it's going to be a one-word comparison. One word.
Really?
We're having an intro.
Is it
intro clip?
A filthy word?
No. That's the word. Just no.
Oh.
Okay. Just no.
Well,
all right.
So I mean, here's my question. So that's a good example. Like the Galaxy S4 is a polarizing piece of hardware. You either kind of love it or you really don't love it. And my thing is, controversial statement of the afternoon, I think the Galaxy S4's hardware story is somewhat more compelling than that of this device.
Oh,
right.
Do tell.
Well,
come on, Michael.
I admittedly am being a little bit of a contrarian. I'm kind of saying this but just as a thought experiment.
You don't like the Nexus 5
you have me
because
very
it's popular.
curious though.
Well, because all right. So here's the thing: the Galaxy S4 has this hyperglaze stuff. It has this chrome ring. It's got the bezel kind of. It has everything we're used to seeing from Samsung: the big pronounced home button, etc. The pronounced camera lens. I don't really like any of that personally. It's not something I would want to carry myself as my personal phone. But it at least says something. It says, yep, we went for really lightweight, and we tried to make it look expensive without adding weight to it and without going too glitzy, even though it's sort of glitzy. So they have a, I don't like what they're saying, but they're saying something. I'm looking at the Nexus 5 right now, and I don't know what it's saying to me. The hardware is just completely silent.
And that's what it's saying, is that you're supposed to focus more on the software experience than the hardware.
Yeah, and I get
that. It's that whole, like, the hardware is nothing but a window to the software.
Right. And we
mumbo-jumbo that Apple spills all the time.
Right? And we've talked about that on now the Pocketnow Live and the Pocketnow Weekly twice. I completely think that is BS. I hate that idea.
I think your face is BS.
But they don't. They spent a lot of time talking to The Verge about the hardware. And was it Matthias who was saying, like, no, listen, this is hardcore plastic. It's not just plastic. It's hardcore. It's laser cut. It's precision done.
I love it. I mean, I have the Nexus 7, and I love the design of it. But okay, I might be a little biased towards matte black. Anything that's matte black finish.
Yeah, you are.
I love matte black.
So boring.
I love it. It's so pretty.
I really like the white Nexus. It's 5 that I have here. But Brad,
it's pretty until you get some grease on it, like your fingerprints, and then it's just not pretty anymore.
Back. Yeah, I agree. It's like the black.
That's my issue.
One, same deal.
I just reach over and wipe my greasy hands on someone's shirt when they're not looking, and then I touch my phone.
Well, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got your manners down.
Yeah. I'm glad that
as long as they don't know.
It's true what they say about the South. You guys really are the genteel.
As long as you do it like a pat on the back, where they don't realize that's actually what you're trying to do.
I give them a piece of candy when I'm doing it. I give them a piece of candy when I'm doing it, and they have no idea what's going on.
It's all warm and
it's all good. We're all happy.
In my pocket. Anyway, Brad, tell us your thoughts on the hardware. Yeah, well, it's not the weekly unless we get a little creepy a couple times.
I don't know. I just felt a little uncomfortable there.
Welcome aboard.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
So, as far as the hardware goes, I think you're right in terms of it's not really saying a whole lot of anything. It's not really like the Nexus 4 where it was visually appealing. Like things stood out to you. The problem with the Nexus 5 is nothing really stands out. Like nothing catches your eye. And there's only a couple exceptions to that. One is the porthole shape. I knew
you were going to say the porthole. Yes, the porthole.
Because you read my review.
Yes, I read your review.
Yes.
I have to say this now before I forget. I'm sorry. Kudos for sneaking in a TLC link into your review. Was that you?
Yes. It was definitely me.
That was awesome.
You know what? I have a couple other similar Easter eggs in my iPad review as well. So
really? All right.
If you haven't seen those, then check it out. Same with my Galaxy Gear review. Like, really? I think Easter eggs is my new thing.
Easter eggs
I've just got to throw them.
We usually have outtakes at the end of our videos, which kind of serve as our Easter eggs. But things been too serious around here. We haven't been able to do outtakes.
I need to do another outtakes thing because every video I shoot, even if it's like a 20-second intro clip, there are like 8 minutes of outtakes.
I know.
And it's all the same thing, isn't it?
Well, it's usually me going,
Sometimes when I bring the phones up to my face to introduce them, I'll like smack my glasses with the phone, and I'm like, oh crap! Oh, all right, sweet.
You cannot pair your glasses with NFC yet.
I know, not yet. Not unless you have Jordy's visor. But we're not going to go back to that area. I'm sorry, the porthole, one of the distinctive features. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, the distinctive feature for sure. Now, I was talking with some people who had, they've got some inside knowledge on, some of the LG design strategies. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking to them about the whole idea behind going with the black bezel with the white back. And then you also have the white porthole speaker. And it sounds to me like the white speaker itself was more of Google's choice. But generally, their design strategy on LG's end is that by having a black bezel, it just offers more continuity across the top. So it feels like it's just a big piece of
glass.
Just one big solid screen.
It's like the white front on the Moto X. It's just...
that just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I was bringing this up, sorry, Taylor, but the reason why I was bringing this up is because LG has done this in the past where they have put white bezels on the front. So like the
G Optimus G Pro,
the G2. Mm-hmm. So, and they were saying, there's a couple exceptions, but overall, you've got this. And then I asked them, well, what about the speaker? Because that totally interrupts this continuity that you're trying to achieve here. And they're like, well, that was more of a Google's decision.
So that's interesting. I assumed that the earpiece porthole was there and was illuminated to provide some sort of symmetrical counterbalance to the notification light, which is in its mirror image position down below the screen.
And that would work, part of the time when you have notifications.
Yeah. Well, that light is always flashing on mine. I love that.
Oh, you're so popular, Michael.
I know.
He texts himself
all the time.
Like, ooh, look, my notification just keeps going off.
You know what it is? It's Taylor Martin with another Hangout request. Hey, need you to do something. I know you're busy, but I need you to do something. Shut up.
It's usually like, yo, hey, answer me.
Yeah.
Hey.
4 hours later, I'm like, oh, sorry, you had the wrong Hangouts account. But I'm trying to remember what the sides of this Nexus 5 remind me of, and it has this kind of tumble home thing. You know what? The sides are a bit like, and you guys are going to throw up in your mouths a little bit maybe, the Lumia 8 or 9... No, 822. Was that the one for Verizon?
Whoa.
The ugliest thing ever?
Oh.
Yeah.
I never touched it, so I'm not tainted.
The Pebble.
Yeah, right. That was a very rounded device, but the commonality here is that the sides, just like on the Nexus 5, the device gets narrower as you come toward the screen.
Yeah, it's beveled in, basically.
Right, except it's not. Yeah, it's too big to be like. Yeah, no, you're right. That's exactly right. I call it Battleship makers call it a tumble home design.
Yeah, and that's a very good aspect because when you hold it in your hands, it does make it a little bit more awkward. Like, yes, you can grip it a little bit easier, but you have to sacrifice a little bit in terms of comfort because it just kind of digs into your fingers.
A little bit, not as much as some of those really hard-edged Lumias did, though, like the 900 with
Xperia Z Ultra.
Fair enough.
Well.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
Brad,
I just go ahead, Taylor.
I was just going to say, Brad and I had words about the Z Ultra before we both published our reviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the Z Ultra.
Yeah. So he messaged me on Twitter and he's like, "Is it wrong if I laugh at this device or something like that?"
Like no,
like you can't not laugh at it.
Oh, the Z Ultra, man.
I'm really glad that I saw one of those at HTC Frequencies, and I was like, oh, let me spend some time with this thing that Taylor Martin LOL'd at for a long time on video. Oh, yeah, this is really big. But
did you LOL?
Yeah, I did not. I politely passed it along and masked my real thoughts from the world. But
look at you.
I know, to learning how to exist in society. But like, I don't want to come across as being excessively negative on this design. I think that the Nexus 4. Now, I never owned a Nexus 4, but I never really liked its design all that much for a couple different reasons that aren't really important. The Nexus 5, at least, is clean. It is
minimal.
It is minimal, and
yes,
it's not totally devoid of personality. I think it's just muted. I think is a good way to put it, right? On a hardware,
right?
Sense.
And I haven't held one, but yeah. I really think. I mean, I'm going to get one for myself eventually. But I've got the same problem that everyone else is having, black or white, and I'm not big on white phones, but this white phone is so pretty.
Yeah, see,
I am.
You know, this thing is it's black when it's sitting on the table, and the majority of the time you're going to think it's a black phone because the white is almost invisible until you flip it over, which I think is a pretty cool design choice. Actually, it gives it the impression of like a sharp edge when you're looking at it from an angle, and even sharper.
It's really executive, I think. Like it just
it is.
Like,
yeah,
like something about it makes me think tuxedo, like just the white and black, and just. I like it.
That's a very good point. And when you compare it to some other designs that are a little bit more exciting, if you will.
I saw your air quotes. Yeah, we can't see each other, but I saw your air quotes.
I heard them totally whisp by the mic.
Go ahead. Or you just know me that well. It's just coming. You can feel it. Your heart gets pounding.
Oh, man.
Faster and faster.
Joe Levi's going to have a field day live tweeting this. But yeah, no. When you compare it against other devices?
Yeah, I mean, it's not exciting per se, but it's at least professional and it's simple. And I think that's really what they were intending to do here, is they weren't trying to go all out like with the Nexus 4. And the Nexus 4 was just... It was kind of all over the place if you think about it. You had the dual panes glass.
Mm-hmm. That weird disco light pattern paint job behind the back.
Yeah, although I kind of like that.
I liked it too.
Yeah. So there was that, and then there was the edges where there were different angles. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have it perfectly straight on the edge.
Right, but that was one of the things I didn't like about the 4 because it suggested that the device was curved, and it in fact was not. And having seen the curved Nexus S and the Galaxy Nexus, I really wanted a curve, but instead you had just like this flat thing pretending, and I was like, oh, come on, stop.
I think the weird thing about the shape of this phone, what you were saying, Brad, is that it kind of bevels in the wrong way. I've just been sitting here looking at it. Like it normally they kind of taper off towards the back, and this one's the complete opposite.
Do they do that normally? I mean,
you look at any other phone like Moto X, it kind of bevels.
Yeah, well, that's a special case too, because that's like a meatball, and it's made to be like a
meatball.
It is. It's kind of like
what does that even mean?
Well, it's meant to conform to your palm. Like it's not. Yeah,
this one doesn't.
I like it. Yeah, no, this one does not, certainly.
Yeah.
My thing, guys, is that when I'm looking at this and we have all these discussions, yes, it does look great, and then I pick it up, and I'm kind of like, oh, well, you're very light. And it's 130 grams, right, which is the exact same weight as the Galaxy S4, which I've always considered a little too light. But something about the reduced mass, the glossy plastic, and some of the muted styling just all conspires to say, like, hey, to me at least, hey, I'm a cool phone, but did you know I cost only $350? Like, it's something about it just says, well, this is a more budget-conscious pass.
I'm going to make a lead case for you for your Nexus 5. Right. A lead case.
Right.
And if you get lead poisoning, I'll feel a little bad, but then not really.
Yeah, well, like I'm saying, a lot of people are going to be totally fine, are obviously already totally fine with that trade-off. Like, there's a Snapdragon 800 inside. It's a 1080p panel. I mean, this thing is very, very, very capable.
It's everything we were asking for with the Nexus 4. But now we're complaining about it again. Yeah. Well, then that's what we do. We're a legion of professional complainers, isn't that right? I own that title like no one else.
Let's talk
about complainers, opiners, Michael. Opiners.
Opiners. You're right. I'm sorry.
I don't even know if that's a real word, but I'm just coining it either way.
I like it.
So,
yeah.
We should start a band.
Opinionista. That's what
Can we start a band called the Opiners?
Yeah, man.
That's what it sounds
Michael
like.
and the Opiners?
The experience. Yes.
I have the experience as a frontman for a metal band, not something like that.
It has to be a thrash band or I'm not joining. Can we talk about as long as you can what? What's Brad's role? You're going to do mouth drums?
Mouth drums.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Yes. I feel like
I just get to swing a mic.
This is excellent.
We don't actually have to play music. We just have to sit up there and act like it.
What about
and complain about things?
Complain, yeah. Well,
while I crush your segues.
Let's keep complaining and or not. Let's just see where it goes.
Look, I mean, I think the Nexus 5 is going to appeal to a lot of people just because of its simplicity, but it doesn't have that wow, like blow your mind factor like the Nexus 4 had, and that was ultimately the point that I had. Was the Nexus 4, when you showed it to people, they were like, whoa. The Nexus 5, they're like, oh, that's a cool phone. It's certainly a big difference. But let me ask you guys this. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the Nexus logo on the back?
Love it.
So it's sideways. It's like the 7. I thought I would hate it. I actually quite like it.
I love it.
I hated it at first. The first day I had it. Like, I even went on the podcast. I'm like, I'm not a big fan. But the more I play around with it and the more I get used to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I do end up liking it a lot more because I think if it weren't there, you would have a huge issue with the phone being even more boring in terms of design, right? Like, this at least fills up the space a little bit. It has this elegant, classy kind of look.
Yeah, and it would, if it were not oriented the way it is, I think there would be a real problem with, as you say, a lot of unused acreage on the back of this thing, and it would look even more generic. The fact that it takes up a lot of space and that it's in an unconventional orientation, yeah, I think that plays in its favor.
I wish the white model had a black Nexus logo and the black had the white Nexus logo there.
Oh, jeez. From boring to tacky in 10 minutes. Taylor Martin.
I mean, think about the Nexus 7, though. The Nexus 7 has the Nexus in black.
Yep.
Wait, the white one does?
No,
there's not a white Nexus 7.
Yeah,
yes, there is. Yes, there is. It's the developer one.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
The special one.
It doesn't count.
It may not.
I can't buy it. Well, don't worry. It'll get pink if you put a case on it or something. I mean, like, my original Nexus 7 was dyed pink after 2 days.
I want to talk about, actually I'm interested in seeing whether this white Nexus 5 picks up colors from my denim leg wear. We're going to have to see. But I have a question that's rather specific. We have a camera on here. It's 8 megapixels. It's got optical image stabilization, presumably the same OIS rig as in the G2, which I found excellent. Yet, and I think Brad and I are going to disagree here, I don't think this camera is all that great, especially in low light. And I kind of want to know if I got a bad unit. Because I was reading your review, Brad, and you were saying that you've had some luck in low light, and I've just had none. How low light are we talking?
I mean, it's not like an HTC One in terms of how much light comes in.
Definitely not.
But it is better than a GS4 or Note 3. it's better than the Nexus 4 by leaps and bounds. So
I was about to say that's not saying
it's not
much.
setting a terribly high bench.
I know. And there are certainly a lot of devices that it's not saying a lot.
It's better than the phone Pixie.
Phew, that's good.
Yeah, that's a relief.
But yeah, like when I do my side-by-side comparisons, it just looked like it was a lot fuller and it was able to focus easier.
It's funny because that's one of the problems I have specifically. When there's not enough light, I can't even force the thing to focus with tap to focus. Like, it's just not enough light is getting in there to let it focus. So I was just doing it side by side with the HTC One today, and like, of course, as you say, the one kicks its butt in low light, but I expected at least to be able to get focus, and I just couldn't. I don't know. It's weird.
Can I say that any smartphone should now come with a manual focus option after the 1020? Like, that should be done on every phone ever. It should be standard.
Yeah, I was itching for that today when I was trying to force this thing to focus on a sign on my door, and it wouldn't. I was like, why doesn't this have a manual focus slider like the G2 did? And that obviously is because there's no LG software in here. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah. Now, when you were trying to tap to focus different things in low light, were you doing it from all sorts of different distances, or was it more like close-up stuff?
It wasn't macro. It was from about 4 feet. And
okay, because I noticed issues with macro. Like, I had to go further away to actually be able to capture things.
Yeah.
And it did okay with focus. The noise level was pretty low on a lot of the pictures I took. And it doesn't get as much light, but I think it handles noise a little bit better than a lot of these other phones. Even the HTC One, it seemed to do a little bit better noise-wise.
Noise-wise, yeah. Well, I think pretty much everything does better noise-wise than the One. That poor camera just lets in all kinds of stuff. But indeed. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I just came to this. I think I wrote an article a week before the thing came out where I was like, thank goodness. Part of the reason that I haven't liked any Nexus phones is because they've had pretty poor cameras. And now we have OIS, so surely that will mean an excellent shooting experience, because I just have never really had a bad experience with a smartphone that has OIS, but I've been disappointed so far.
So well, it's better, and I do disagree, but that's, again, like you said, it could be just a matter of having a faulty unit. It could just be different circumstances, different places that you and I are shooting pictures at.
It could,
but
be. Yeah.
I was actually expecting a lot worse than what I got.
See, maybe that's because you have more experience with the Nexus line. I only had the Galaxy Nexus, and Lord knows that was a horrible camera, but I haven't had to deal with them for generations like some of you guys have. But we'll see. That's one of those things that we're going to tap on. Brandon has a Nexus 5, I believe. I think Joe has one now, Taylor? Is that right?
Yes, he does. He did a video on it. It's in the rundown. How do you not know this?
The shocking secret that I have a secret intern do my podcast rundowns is finally revealed. No, that's
well, he does a great job.
I'll be sure and
give that guy a raise.
Yeah, give him a pat on the back. So, can we talk a little about KitKat, guys? What's this has been fun. I mean, Taylor, have you done any videos on KitKat? I've been paying very close attention to your work.
You clearly have not, and no,
because you've been doing iPad stuff.
Yes.
And the appropriate answer, Taylor, is yes. I have been doing tons of stuff.
Yeah,
I've been working like crazy.
I've been sitting on my hands for 4 days.
I've been synergizing all morning.
Well, because KitKat brings some like fairly cool stuff in here, and I feel like in my like parade of comparisons, I haven't been able to play with it as much as I would have liked. But the integrated phone book stuff, I mean, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Yep. That's one of those things that hits you in the head, and it's like, why the hell didn't somebody think of this before? If I don't have to like download a stupid cumbersome app, I don't have to do a Google search. I'm already in the dialer because I want to make a phone call. Why don't I just start searching for wings over Boston, Buffalo Wings place, or
whatever. I often like when I'm like, hey, I'm going to call in an order for a pizza. I usually like open the dialer first, and I'm like, crap. I gotta look it up. I just do that innately, and the fact that I won't have to worry about that anymore is nice.
And it's awesome, and it does. It's supposed to do the reverse lookup for you, but I haven't gotten that to function. What was your experience with that? Like, does it display caller ID information from for you if you're getting a call from a business, say?
Yes, but in full discretion, I haven't actually got a whole lot of calls from businesses, but the ones that I did, it seemed to work fine. Yeah. So I don't know exactly to what extent it works, but I don't want to say that it works with everything.
All my inbound calls are from collections agencies, so that's probably what it is.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, I'm joking, but I do get a lot of.
He calls like a pizza shop, and he's like, "Hey, I really don't want any food, but can you call me back?
Yeah, can you just call me back? I just want to try something. Just call me back. I'll order something if you call me back." I've had 150% more ghost dials from random numbers thanks to Taylor Martin's review of a month ago where he accidentally leaked my phone number, Brad.
Okay.
Oh, no. Let's definitely always have Taylor Martin on the team.
Let's put the nail in the coffin and say that if I had edited that, it would not be in there. But Jaime left it in there.
I know it's a dead rat that I keep digging up. I'm the
Taylor.
I'm the family.
You know what happens when you point fingers.
That's exactly right.
I point all 5 in the direction of someone else.
I'm waving. I'm waving furiously at Jaime Rivera.
Don't just point one finger. Just point all of them, and then you can't go wrong.
Right. I point with a stern fist.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, so, like FedEx called me one time to say a package was coming, and it showed up saying it was FedEx. So, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, so all right, that works. That's in there. I mean, what else is in there? We've got this revamped Google Now interface, which for me has been having a little bit of growing pains, I think, because normally my Google Now cards are all stacked up and they're all wonderful and stuff, and now Google Now seems convinced that I don't want to hear about anything because I go into Google Now purposely. And I'm like, oh, what does Google think? And it's like, you don't have any cards right now. I'm like, come on, man. I want to know things. You usually tell me things.
And then later on in the afternoon, it's just like, Michael, stop bugging me.
Yeah. Look, the minute
it's like, no, I just wanted to come in and check every 20 seconds. Like, you got anything?
There's nothing happening. No. Now go back to the home screen. That's my experience with Google Now.
By the way, have you guys ever told the Google Now to make you a sandwich?
Oh, no, but I'm going to do it right now. Is it awesome?
Yes.
Okay, Google. Make me a sandwich. Oh, it's on mute. It's not going to...
Okay, Google. Make me a sandwich.
You're a sandwich.
Did it just call you a sandwich?
Yes, it said, you're a sandwich.
That's
and then
awesome.
Hang on, there's other ones. Let's see if it does it.
It directed me to make me a sandwich at Know Your Meme.
Yeah,
really?
It doesn't do it for
me. Okay, Google. Make me a sandwich.
What? Make it yourself.
What?
Yeah, you got make it yourself. Like that. Yeah, that's the other one that it does.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Make me a sandwich.
Yeah, so...
Nothing.
Anyway.
Nothing.
No,
it doesn't like me.
because yours is muted.
What? It's not muted.
It could be. Anyway, that's a neat trick.
It doesn't only work on the Nexus 5. I've tried it on other ones because apparently I have nothing else better to do with my day.
So I was going to say,
barrel roll for a little while.
All this tomfoolery is barrel rolling is fun. Is actually relates directly to a point that I've been making for a while. I really love that Google Now is constantly being improved. I love that that's the direction of the company, that you should be able to get information before you know you want it. I mean, it sounds creepy, but it's pretty awesome. But the voice interface, I so desperately want more personality in that voice. I'm not talking about a Siri duplicate. I'm just something that doesn't feel quite as much like I'm talking to a disembodied robot, which is, of course, the truth.
So something more like a Siri-like experience.
So something more like a Siri duplicate. Like, can you just duplicate? You know what, Brad? I really want something like S Voice, because I think that's just the best experience ever.
It is the bomb, especially on the Galaxy Gear.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get anything better than that.
It's true. Actually, S Voice was one of the bright points of my Galaxy Gear experience. But do you agree, disagree?
Yes, I do.
Now fine with you both?
Whatever you're saying, I disagree with.
Thank you. Yeah, well, tell her I knew. So I was asking our guest. No, what are your feelings on
Google Now?
Google Now, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a great move to actually put it on the left side of the home screen.
Yeah.
In fact, it reminds me a lot of
Blink Feed.
Well, yes. It reminds me a lot of Blink Feed. And then there's also last year's Motorola UI.
Yes.
Where they had the...
I missed that.
Yes.
Wait, what did Motorola do in their UI when you swiped left to right on the home screen?
It pulled up like a quick commands page.
Yes. Yes, it was a quick...
Was that on the Droids for
Yes.
Verizon? Oh.
Yeah, it was on the Razr HD and the Razr Max HD. And
We were at
the
that
Razr
event
M.
together, Michael.
I still have yet to do a Droid review of my own. I've never reviewed a Droid branded thing. Oh, I did the Razr M, but
We were at that event together. How do you not remember that?
But that was
We
the
were
D-
like,
Obviously, it meant
Like
more to you,
Rose
Taylor,
we
than it meant to Michael.
We were at the DNA event together, Taylor.
we were at multiple.
We weren't.
Can't believe you don't remember.
We were never at another Droid event. But anyway, yeah. So that is something I completely forgot about. That this is not the first OEM to do it besides HTC and the Blink feed. But go ahead, finish your point, because this is fascinating to me because nobody's angry. It seems this time.
It is kind of weird, yes. And I would love the opportunity to just play around with whatever HTC comes out with, because HTC is going to come out with KitKat pretty soon. And what the heck are they going to do with Google now?
Yeah, because
they've got Blink feed right there.
Yeah, and they're not going to replace Blink feed with it. I mean, the HTC is really invested in Blink feed, and people are surprisingly more receptive to it than I think anybody thought. So, based on their usage, if their usage numbers are correct,
right.
So yeah, what are they going to do? I mean, will they do another long press on a button or something? Go ahead.
Well, and I do wonder about this, but I think with the Sense 5.5, you have the option of completely turning it off now. And KitKat will be a part of Sense 5.5. So it makes me wonder if you're going to have the option to turn off Blink feed and turn on the Google Now, or if you're just going to have to deal with accessing it the way we always have, and just being able to swipe up. Because that's certainly a possibility as well.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a 4-finger press, like long press and twist, and then turn the phone 3 times like you're turning a wrench.
No, that's what it's going to be on the G2 when the G2 gets KitKat. Yeah, a 4-finger swipe down and a drop kick.
Who are you kidding? The G2 will not get KitKat. Come on.
Oh,
high five.
Hatos.
Oh, yes. So I really like the functionality because it's not really in the way you can turn it off if you don't like it. The other feature that isn't getting a whole lot of publicity right now is the fact that you can have as many screens or as few screens as you want. Whereas before it was stuck on 5.
Right.
You had to have 5. Now you can have just 1 if that's all you want. You can have Google Now turned off and just have it be a completely basic experience. Or you can have about 30. Like I got up to 22 before I just said, okay, it can do as many as I want. And it just stopped.
Wow. Did you really get up that? No kidding.
Yeah. I went all out for that. I was like, you know what? I'm dedicated.
It's worth it. I'm going to give it a go. I want to open every home screen I possibly can. We used to do that in WebOS.
You're not going to hit a limit. Chris Chavez of Fandroid did over 100. He said he had like 150.
Really?
Oh, that jerk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, he has a lot of time on his hands.
Yes.
Well,
I would have
do
been
that
like,
in the WebOS days. We used to open up every app that we could on the phone and see how many cards you could get running at the same time. And, like, you could get up there. Man, that's cool.
Do you know how many home screens I use if I have the opportunity?
2.
1. I delete everything but 1 page.
You're exactly like Tony. Tony's the same exact way.
1 page. That's all I need. Like, why would I need 50 pages? It's easier to just open the app drawer at that time.
No.
It is, because they're alphabetical. If you arrange them on multiple pages, then you have to remember that, and that's just too much.
Well, then it's muscle memory, man. Like, I still swipe to the right for my public transit app all the time. Like, that's where it lives. I know it's there all the time. I don't have to, like, think about the alphabet, bro. This stuff is hard.
The brofabet.
The brofabet.
I use Action Launcher and I use covers, so
yeah,
that helps a lot. But
just fancy.
I usually have about 3 to 4 because I do like having a few extra widgets available to me if I'd like. Have a few extra folders and toggle switches.
You can just put like a big full screen widget on one too. Like I almost always have my calendar full screen on the left, or my airplane widget for departing flights. Flight board is what it's called. All the way on the right. Yeah, so extra. Nice. It's good to know that you can go unlimited with them. Taylor Martin has rightly pointed out that we're looking at a 2-hour runtime right now if we don't step on the gas a little bit. I know, right? So,
yeah, geez. Okay.
I know. Yeah. So let's
see. Let's crank out what else. One thing I want to point out is the Snapdragon 800 on this flies.
Oh yeah.
Like multitasking, you switch between tasks. It's like immediate.
Yeah, I love the Snapdragon 800, and that might have come off a little strong in my Note 10.1 review, the 2014 edition.
You like drawing little hearts and stuff, with Snapdragon. Taylor plus Snapdragon
equals big.
Came a little strong. Qualcomm had to call you and be like, dude, we're taking it a little fast. Let's
settle down.
Let's take it a little slower.
Yeah, come on, man.
I had
it's not you, it's us.
I had the Exynos Octa version of the Note 10.1, and it was just not great.
Yeah,
correct.
It was not good at all. At least
it's very easy to fall in love with the performance that the 800 gives, particularly on you have an optimized device. You have Android not trying to power a 1.5 gig system image, third-party UI, right?
50 gigs. It's 50. We're just gonna. It's got to be.
We're just gonna make that the truth.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Couple other little things that I want to bring up, and these are not necessarily huge, important things, but anybody who's been reading up on the Nexus 5, they know that there's the 1080p screen and just all these amazing things. Like that's a given. But I like throwing in like some of the little known things just as nuggets for some of the listeners. And one of them is the screen recording capability. Have you guys checked this out?
I know that you can do video capture, but I have not had occasion to do it yet. I would really like to incorporate that in the review video if I can do it.
I'd do that, but guess what? I don't have an Nexus 5.
Yeah. No.
Thank you for rubbing that in my face again.
I know you mentioned it in your review, Brad, but have you used it extensively, or what's the story?
Yes, in fact, we did incorporate it into our
video review.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Our producer did an incredible job with it, But the fantastic thing is you can do this with any sort of apps hands-ons. And yeah, most regular people won't care about this. They won't know how to do it. It's not going to be that big a deal. But for anybody, like developers, if they want to do any sort of hands-on videos with their products, then it's so much quicker and easier to do it. And you output it as an MP4 file.
Yeah.
And it just gets stored on your phone until you're ready to grab it and do whatever the heck you want with it. So a lot of great uses for it.
So there's no way to do it from the phone, correct? Or does it have to be done?
There's no way to do it from the phone. It has to be done
through a terminal.
Although, the hooks are in there, so that if a developer wanted to write a video screen capture app, isn't it theoretically possible?
You'd probably have to have root.
Interesting. I could see it being done with root.
Yeah, well, a bunch of apps in the store exist right now that all require root, but I don't know if. Yep. Yeah.
We'll have to see, but that's a very good point. I don't know.
And then there's, I think I know what else you're going to bring up. I want to bring up a little favorite of mine, which is the Qi wireless charging, which I have been a champion of wireless charging since I learned of its existence. And
it's not real wireless charging.
I know. If it can't charge from 30 feet away, what good is it to me? Yeah, I know. But it's great. I know it was in the Nexus 4, right? It was, yeah, because they had the orb charger. And I've just been using my tilt view all week with propping up the Nexus next to my computer, and it's very handy. It's awesome, and it's charging and sitting there, and I don't fumble with the cable. I just love it, and I love that it's integrated. I mean, this is the way things should be. And this is, I love that it's like physical evidence that contradicts all the people who say adding wireless charging adds bulk and adds weight. It really doesn't. This thing is tiny.
It doesn't, and even though the Moto X has no wireless charging, I still have my Nexus Orb sitting on the desk plugged up, and I sit my Moto X on it just because.
Because it's a great angle. Like it's
a great angle, but
prop your phone up on stuff.
I keep putting it there, hoping that one day,
stuff, like Commander Riker.
Yeah, well, I keep putting it there, hoping one day it might just charge.
Yeah, one day you're going to wake up and it'll be Christmas. So
and then you'll pick it up and it'll be like, "Good morning, Taylor."
Yeah, I like.
We're moving too fast, Moto X.
That's what we need. Okay, 4.5, Android 4.5. You need to have the way for Google to speak to you when you wake it up
in a very soft tone.
Yes.
In a very
off-putting
yet tender tone. I agree.
Good morning. Or you could customize it.
Yeah, you could customize it.
Tender, or it could be really harsh. Like an alarm clock could be like, "Wake up!"
Yeah, and you should be able to select your region and your dialect as well. Yeah. Hey,
that'll be good for Taylor because with the southern accent and all.
Yes. Yeah.
Had it.
Get the Jarvis voice. That would be amazingly cool. Or I wish Majel Barrett was still alive. Back to the Star Trek
What are
thing.
we doing?
We are fantasizing. We're having a wonderful time thinking about the future. But you're right. We have to move.
What are we doing?
Brad, I bet the next thing you were about to bring up, and incidentally, probably our second to last thing about the Nexus 5, is let me guess, the secure element bypass functionality?
Ooh, well, that's not where I was going, but I think that's a very great
It is pretty
feature
cool,
to talk
right?
about.
Yeah, you can. But no. Tell me what you were going to tell me, because that's boring compared to what you were going to say, probably.
You're probably right. I totally don't remember what I was going to say. So, yes, I do. Yes, I do. The ceramic buttons.
All right, are we going to talk about this?
That tone.
No.
Maybe I'm just gonna.
No. I love that you've brought it up, because I cannot tell. I know they're ceramic, but can you? They feel like plastic to me. They're so tiny, I can't tell. I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing: is of all the places to put ceramic, the buttons seems like the silliest place to put it.
I mean, Nokia's been doing it for a while, but those are big side keys, and you can sort of tell. I mean, here, because there's less space to play with on the device, the keys are smaller, they're thinner, and they certainly look good. I don't know. I found that that discussion to be a little bit like, really? Do you like it more than you like? Do you like the material choice more than you like it on other phones?
Honestly, I'm pretty mad about it. It's cool, and I like the fact that they threw it in there.
Yeah.
But I just think of all the places to put it, the buttons just seems kind of a weird place. You know, it's not really going to affect the durability of the phone. Like it does give it a little bit more of a premium kind of feel, but that's being really nitpicky about it. Like
Right.
It's
like you'd have to
saying,
be looking at plastic buttons side by side and just
Yeah.
looking at how solid it is. It really is solid. You don't have to worry about it like wiggling around or anything. But again, this is really, really tiny. That doesn't matter. And just,
it's like handing someone. It's like handing someone a diamond ring and saying, "Hey, look, I got you a diamond ring," and then you have to pull out this magnifying glass or maybe even a microscope to show them the diamond in it. Like, it's there. You're not lying to me, but really, like,
It's interesting. It's definitely not something I would kick out of bed. I think we're definitely probably in danger of beating up on this thing so hard that people are now actively mad at us. But I don't think that there's.
They can't be mad. We're about to give one away.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's do that, shall we? I think it's time. It's important.
Look, my final thought on this is with all the little nitpicky things we're saying about this thing, we are really being that nitpicky for a reason. It's because the rest of the device itself is absolutely incredible, and for $350, like, why would you not get it? Right?
Agreed. Unless you're in a region where that pricing structure is not intact. Because I know a lot of
because you're broke.
Country. But I know a lot of people out there in countries where this thing is selling for $580 or something like that, and then you have other questions like, okay, well, what else is in this price range? And then you can really. That's why we're making so many comparison videos, so that you can sort of try to make an informed choice.
I was about to click buy, and my bank account said no. And I was like, okay.
And it said no.
That hit me too. Yeah, I was like, oh,
yes.
God.
So look, it does make me wonder that a device like this, it's got all the premium components in it, and they're obviously not making a profit off this. Google, like, if they are, it's a very minuscule profit. Mm-hmm. Like, is this going to be shaking up the industry? Like, is this like the T-Mobile of phones? Which is a really weird thing to say because T-Mobile sells phones, but you know what I mean. Like, is this going to disrupt, air quotes, disrupt the industry and have it become more of a mainstream thing for these flagships to start coming down in price?
It'd be nice. I don't know if it'll happen, but it'd be very nice because, I mean, that's something that I think as we slowly trend away from this subsidy nonsense that we're still in here in the United States, I think bringing the price down is going to be the most profitable way for manufacturers to still make money, because once people realize that phones aren't really, $200 or $300 on or without a contract, they're going to be like, no, I don't need a new phone now. I'll just wait another year or two. They're to get out of this whole subsidization crap that we've been stuck in for so long, because the carriers keep bringing it back. I think to get out of that, manufacturers are going to have to start, bringing forward cheaper phones, or at least cutting their profit margins.
Which is a shame, right? Because, I don't want to see more compromise in this already increasingly commoditized space.
Where's the compromise in the Nexus 5?
The camera, the display, the build quality. What do you... the speaker, the speaker phone.
Yeah, but okay, we're talking...
Shall I continue?
No! We're talking in terms of a $350 phone. But you put another...
Placed in context, no, absolutely. But, but that's the thing. Like, the new Nexus family is all about compromise. And that's okay, because as I said before, the important stuff is here, and it's pretty good. With the possible exception of the camera, I don't think any of that stuff is going to be a showstopper for people.
But it has ceramic buttons.
Well, that's true, and a porthole. But I want to say that I agree with you, Brad. I think this is an important device, but it's also an enjoyable device. And when you consider it in a vacuum, which is not always advisable, but is a real relief after a week full of comparison video shooting, it's really, really quite nice. Like, I'm staring at this display that legitimately is more washed out than any of the displays I've compared it with, but without anything next to it, it's really great. It's a really great 1080p panel on a $350 phone powered by a Snapdragon 800. So there that is. With surprisingly good call quality. That's my last point.
Yeah. But what I was trying to say is manufacturers aren't going to bring the price down to $300 for their phones or $400. But if they can bring it down to below $500 for the entry levels, like a Galaxy S4, say the Galaxy S5, Samsung introduces it and no contract, it's $500. That would be pretty impressive, considering all the other ones have started at $650, close to $700. That's a significant difference.
And when you think about the kind of components and specs that we're looking at with different phones, the GS4 and some of these phones that came out in 2013 have just absolutely top-notch specs. Well, I know that they're going to continue getting better, but how much of a return are you going to get on those better specs? You've got a 1080p on the GS4, for example. Well, what if the GS5 comes out with a Quad HD? Okay, well, it's technically more pixel dense, but it's, 1080p.
Any better?
Yeah, it's not going to be that much better. And so if you could bring the cost down on those, you still have a very good, legitimate phone with a whole lot of power behind it.
Yeah. At what point do we reach... Or where is the point of diminishing returns on better specifications? Right. Because, so you have a Snapdragon 800. What are you possibly going to put in a phone that will make it that much better? We can run incredible games right now. The only way that you're really going to get more performance out of a phone is if you have content that requires more or better performance.
Yeah, because Samsung's only going to be able to add like 20 more features into its next Galaxy S phone. It needs more.
No, never underestimate Samsung's ability to cook up new features.
They don't have space. They don't have memory because those 128 gigabyte NAND chips are not going to. Yeah.
Well, this has been very stimulating, guys. Yeah, let's give away a Nexus 5. I love this. This is a very, very fun part of the job, although this time it was very stressful because we had so many entries that people were like tweeting at me, and they'd obviously entered the contest, and they were saying how much they really wanted to win it and why and who they wanted to give it to, and there was all this kind of generous thoughts. And we only have one phone, and I'm like looking at all these people, I'm like, oh my God. The simple rule of it is that only one person can win. So for the 86,499 people who are not winning the phone, thank you very much for participating. And we really appreciate you being so enthused and for coming to visit Pocketnow. So thank you very much. And it is time to announce the winner. There is a drum roll behind my voice if I've done the editing correctly. And we have to congratulate Luca. I do not know Luca's last name.
Does he live on the second floor?
What is that? That's a pop culture reference I don't get. You'll have to explain.
Suzanne Vega.
My name is Luca.
Well, Luca, I don't know what floor Luca lives on, but he or she has just secured a new Nexus 5. It is white, 16 gigs. And Luca, please email us if your name is Luca. We, of course, have your email address, so we'll email you as well. But if you just can't wait, if you've listened to the podcast, and all the rest of you who are now actively dropping off of the podcast, thank you for listening this far. And those of you posting the time codes, you are clever, clever people. So thank you, everyone, once again for participating. And Luca, we'll be talking to you very soon. Get your phone in the mail. Congratulations.
Hello, my name is Luca. I'm kidding.
You are joking. You jokester, you. All right. Well,
So
that is the Nexus 5 giveaway. We are now one Nexus 5 poorer at Pocketnow, but our hearts are full. So shall we move on to a little bit of listener mail on the Nexus 5 before we put it to bed and talk briefly about the iPad Air?
These are really long questions.
I know. Welcome to every interview I do, too. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to talk for 5 minutes, and then you can't find the question buried in my statement, so let's just stop talking. Yeah.
Sure.
The first piece of listener mail I'd like to, because I've been talking for so long, I'd like Taylor Martin to read, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, this piece is actually from Alex Terra-Avest. I believe that's how it's pronounced. If not, I am very sorry. Hey guys, bit by bit, user experience reports of the new Nexus 5 are landing, and the camera experience, again, seems to be a mediocre one. It's taking pretty nice shots in good lighting conditions, but once conditions get harder, the camera just can't keep up. And even though image quality is important, I think that there's an even more important aspect to smartphone photography. Technology advances have brought general image quality to a passable level. Now, why don't manufacturers focus on speed? I think speed is very essential. If you want to capture a moment, you don't want to wait a full second or more before the phone will finally take the shot, because the moment will be gone. Mm-hmm. At parties, I actually prefer using my 5th generation iPod Touch as a shooter instead of my Nexus 4. It's probably because it has a better camera. The image quality may be worse, but at least it captures the moments I want to capture. Are Android OEMs simply not paying enough attention to the camera experience? Or is it in the nature of Android to have a so-so camera experience? Thanks a lot for your time and greetings from your loyal listener from the Netherlands, Alex Terra-Avest. I want to first start by saying that I believe it was Ice Cream Sandwich that Google stood on stage in the wee hours of the morning, because they announced this over in Asia, but they stood on stage and talked for like 15 to 20 minutes about how they improved the capture speed, so your shutter speed, and it was no lag shutter speed. That was the feature from Ice Cream Sandwich, that big feature. And it is completely obliterated now. I was taking a picture with, what was it? It was some Samsung device. It was either the Note 10.1. I hate taking pictures with tablets, but the Note 10.1, the Note 3, or there was something else in there maybe. But I just hit the shutter button and wait. Really? And capture. It's just like, what is going on? Like, why?
And we saw some of this in Brad's review, talking about trying to capture sugar-fueled children running around and stuff like that, right? Like, there is a bit of a delay on the Nexus 5's shutter release, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And I've actually taken it and I've compared it to the HTC One Google Play Edition and the GS4. I just have the Touch with the edition, but looking at the 2 or the 3 different phones, the Nexus 5 was the slowest of them all. And thinking about it this way, I think it's more of a hardware thing, right? Where the HTC One Google Play Edition actually was able to fire off a picture pretty quickly compared to the Nexus 5. It's still not instantaneous, but it's pretty close. And I feel a lot more comfortably being able to capture pictures of moving objects that way. Whereas the Nexus 5, also a stock camera experience, same with the Nexus 4, like it's just incredibly slow. And even when you've already focused, and this is the part that drives me nuts. Like, I get that you have some time to focus. Like, it's got to take a second or two to get that focus down, and then it should just happen instantaneously. But the Nexus 5 doesn't do that. It still takes a couple seconds, even though you've already, like, done the focus before you hit the shutter button.
Yeah, I think there's evidence that the camera app is not entirely. I mean, to say it's undercooked, I think is probably a little proper, because I'm using it right now to take a couple shots, and there's a curious thing where you see the software creates a flash when you hit the button to indicate that it's capturing the photo, but I think the actual capture happens sometime in the microseconds after that flash.
Yeah,
because you see it moving over to the gallery, but then there's a bit of a stutter there where I just sort of feel like I'm using a really, really close beta. Like it's almost done, But I would expect to get a camera app update here pretty soon from Google, solidifying that experience. But
I mean,
the funny thing about it is I took my Samsung camera and snapped a shot, and it was instantaneous.
Wow.
Like, it just happened right away.
Taylor Martin, I think you're getting a message from the heavens to stop taking photos with tablets.
Yes, well, I should. I am an advocate for abolishing anyone from the face of the earth who takes pictures with tablets. Like, I am leading that movement. And I keep reviewing tablets, so I have to keep taking pictures and videos with tablets. Like, I'm standing on a sidewalk the other day, shooting a video with the iPad, and I'm talking to it and spinning in circles, and there are like 4 or 5 people just staring at me.
Watching you, right? Yeah, I know. They always come around when you're doing something embarrassing.
Yeah, that's the only thing I hate about reviewing tablets. That and how bright the displays are. Other than that, they're my favorite things to review.
What's Brad taking photos of over there?
I'm just trying other phones, seeing what the shutter lag is like.
So I think Alex brings up an interesting question. Is Android? Is it in the nature of Android to have a so-so camera experience? No, I don't think so at all. And there are some viewfinder. I think Samsung in particular has a really cool viewfinder experience that's very easy to use for everyone, and it's pretty clear how to use it. HTC bundles in some cool features with its viewfinder software, and then you've got Motorola doing really cool stuff that's very simple, and it's very clean. And I actually prefer it to the Nexus shooter, but then the output is not great. So I think it's in the nature of Android to be inconsistent in a lot of things because there's so much variety. That's my take on it. There's some great camera experiences in Android. Good.
And they're only going to keep getting better because what we were talking about earlier about this glass ceiling of specs where there's this diminishing law of returns with many of the features that we have. And like you can crank out more megapixels, okay, but what we're seeing now is we're seeing all these OEMs coming out with really clever features to go along with the imaging experience. I mean, you have the HTC Zoe, for example, and then you've got the 2,000 features that Samsung's thrown in. But then you also have Google, where, okay, HDR Plus is really the only big difference on the Nexus 5. But think about the auto awesome stuff.
Right, where it's uploaded to Google Plus, and then the filters get kind of automatically applied to make the photo better. Right?
Exactly. And you've got other things, and a lot of this is mostly Google just taking inspiration from HTC and Samsung and just putting their own little twist to it. But the whole point is that all these manufacturers are coming out with new, clever imaging techniques to really draw new people in. And I think that's going to continue, and I think it's going to get even better as time goes by. That seems to be the hottest competition right now.
I think you're right, and it's very important to have a solid experience, but I think the fundamentals are getting left behind in some ways, because we've talked about this on the show before. We see Sony cranking out phones that are in a lot of ways that are beautiful, with camera sensors that are like kind of identical to the same sensors they're shipping on phones that we know take great shots, but they can't write software to render a decent photo in, say, for example, low light. And it's like, I don't understand why we're forgetting how to take great photos. We've got the Moto X that came out with a really, really lackluster camera. The jury's maybe still out on the Nexus 5 here, at least on this podcast, because we have differing opinions, but it's some people say it's not a great camera as well. So it's like, I think we should be at the point where we're not having these problems anymore. Cameras have been on phones for a long time. I think we should have the fundamentals down, and we should make sure that they're down before we start leaping into stuff like correcting it after the fact, like Auto Awesome. Or, just put a Lytro camera in all of these.
Yeah, but I mean, you take a look at some of the stuff that Nokia is doing.
Yeah.
With its phones. Just the new was it the
1020
the
or
new
the
focusing technique. The refocus lens, I believe it is, with the 1520.
Oh yeah.
Like where you're basically doing like a litro, but you have a lot more detail, and you're still just able to change the focus to whatever point you want after the shot is taken. Just even little things like that are just going to go a long ways. And who knows how long it's going to be before we start seeing that kind of stuff with Android phones. But I do think that manufacturers see the importance, and they are continuing to work on research and development for it. So I think over the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot of huge advances for imaging.
I think it's a safe bet. I think Taylor's staying quiet, so he's just willing us to move on. Isn't that right, Taylor?
I wasn't.
What are you doing?
No, I was Instagramming that I was on the podcast with
really?
Mr. Phone Wisdom.
Oh, yay. Good. I'm glad our Instagram account is getting some love today.
Yeah. I was just going to say that because you noted that you like the Motorola camera experience, at least the UI, software, and and I don't. I don't, because it's very minimal and it's nice, but I hate the touch to capture. Absolutely.
If you're going to do it, you should have a button. You should have a hardware shutter button.
You should always have a hardware shutter button, and you should at least have the option to separate your capture.
Yeah, because you can't hold the Moto X and wait for a moment to happen, like wait for a shark to jump out of the water or something that you know is going to happen. Because I spend a lot of time photographing sharks jumping out of the water, I guess. But you can't do that, because the minute the event starts to happen, like, you tap it, and then it has to get the focus and take the shot, and it's like a 2-second process.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
So, let's move on. Let's move on to, there's another question, which we have to skip about the camera, sorry, because we're running out of time. The next one is from Anthony Guan, or call me Anthony, all right, done. Hey, you guys, your show is awesome. I listen to your podcast every week. Thank you, Anthony. But I recently got a Nexus 5, and since there's wireless charging, I want to give it a try. Do you guys know of a good one that's under $80? Thanks. Yes.
Don't get the Nokia one.
No, at the charging plate?
Fat boy?
Or the Fat Boy charger, the pillow?
Don't do it.
Why not, Taylor?
Joe Levi will reach through your computer and smack you in the face.
Wow. Such strong emotions.
That's very...
So we were on a live show, and he was like lambasting the thought of it, just really the thought. He's like, no, don't.
It doesn't. The Nokia charging plate doesn't work all that well. I will answer the question. I use the Tilt View. It's TYLT is the name of the brand, and View is the name of the device, VU. It's retailing for $69.99 right now. It comes in a bunch of different colors. You can see it in my comparison videos and my review video when it goes up of the Nexus 5. It's a cool little charger. Props up your device and charges it wirelessly. It's nice.
Where is it retailing for that?
At shop.tilt.com. Once again, TYLT. Thanks,
yeah,
Taylor.
because Amazon, it's $100.
Wow. Well, yeah, directly from Tilt. It's nice. Red, blue, yellow, and black. What about you, Brad?
Well, I've tried a few different ones in my days, and I've like you said, Taylor. There's the Fat Boy. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's okay, whatever. But I usually actually just stick to my trusty Energizer pad. Now, this particular pad is a dual pad, and this serves me well just simply because I have quite a few devices that I need to charge up all at once. But you can actually get it in single, and I'm not exactly sure how much it is, but I'm just doing some simple Google searches, and it looks like it's around $40 or so for just a single one.
For the Energizer brand.
Oh wait, that's the charging sleeve. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds really low in price. And while you're trying to find it, the Nexus 4 charging orb should still work with the Nexus 5, right?
Yes. And there is a Nexus 5 charging pad as well. It's just not out yet.
Okay.
They haven't given a price on it, but I imagine it's probably going to be like in the $50 range or so. So
Palm Touchstone charging dock, $9.99.
No, that will not work. Don't buy it.
It won't.
It would be cool if it did, because that was the best charging base I ever had. But everybody.
So the Energizer Dual one on Amazon, it's not giving me a new price, but used it says it's $65. So
not bad.
for what it's worth.
There's the LG Puck. It's not called the Puck, but it looks like a hockey puck, a flattened hockey puck. It's $44.87. It's hit pretty good reviews. But
there you go.
I'm going with one more that I actually did a review on, if I can find it. That was the problem.
Because there's tons of options, right?
Yeah,
like there's also the Samsung version.
Yeah,
as
the
well.
one I have two actually. I have the Nexus 4 Orb, and then I have the Zen's charger that I did a review on because they sent me a Zen's case for the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's
you
cool.
just have to make sure it supports the right wireless charging standard because there's Qi and then there's the what is the wireless power line? No, the power line does Qi.
Well,
who the other?
There's the
Duracell Power Mat.
Yeah, Power Matters Alliance. Yeah. Those guys.
And then there's the Alliance for Wireless Power, which I don't think has anything out yet. I think they're still working on it.
And then there's Taylor Martin's Casper Tech homemade backwoods wireless charging.
Actually, yeah, and
not guaranteed to work.
Right, and or Michael Fisher's custom Galaxy S3 with a Palm Touchstone mod that he learned from XDA developers. That's a fun time. Yeah, that was a fun video of it, just shooting my kitchen at 2 a.m, getting burns from the soldering iron. But let's move on. We got Jason Beckles asking a question. Brad, would you like to read one? I think it would be fun if you read one.
Sure. May I say you guys do a great job and keep me not only well-informed, but entertained. Particularly Michael's George Bush-style Southern accent and Brandon's English accent. But to the point, 4.4 KitKat has some great improvements, but it still cannot control hardware controls through voice commands like turn off Wi-Fi. As
MKPHD.
Marquez Brownlee pointed out in a recent video, the fact that Google now says this action is not supported instead of searching the phrase suggests that it is something possibly in the works or that they thought about it. I heard that this function is not supported due to a software patent that Apple owns. Is this true? If so, is there anything that Google can do to get around it? Or is it likely that we won't see this functionality come to Google phones? Great podcast and all the best to you all, Jason Beckles.
That's a solid question right there. I actually did not know about this until I read the email and then I tried it. And yes, indeed, if you tell your phone to turn off Bluetooth or turn off Wi-Fi or do other system functions, instead of searching the phrase on Google, it'll give you a very quick flash of a little window that says this action is not supported.
And then it speaks,
right.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
You're a Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's going on there, if there is a patent or anything. But I do think Jason brings up a very good point because, I mean, it's obvious that they have thought about this. Like, it recognizes that you are trying to say that voice command and it's not actually doing anything. Instead of just pulling up the search phrase. So obviously it's something that's, like you said, either in the works or they just acknowledge that this is what you're trying to do, but they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever really gone broke betting that Google's against Google's innovative spirit, right? So, like, the question, is it likely that we won't see this functionality come to Google phones? No, I don't think that's likely, Jason. I mean, I think if they are able to do it, which they are, even if there's a patent problem with Apple, this is, I think, probably a broad enough functionality that there's another way to do it. I just think that we haven't seen it yet. I've never even thought of. I mean, Taylor, have you ever thought about the notion of turning on and off system functions with voice commands? Like, I don't.
I mean, I've done it a few times after. Yeah, I've done it a few times since iOS 7 because it's now integrated in Siri. You can tell it to turn up the brightness, turn down the brightness, turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth. You can tell it to do all kinds of things. But it's not something that really appeals to me. Like, it's there in the notification shade. That's good enough for me. I'm going to use Control Center over Siri to turn off functions.
Well, yeah.
10 times out of 10, and I'm going to do the same thing in Android where I just pull down the shade and toggle it.
So there's a two-part response to this, and the first is that there's accessibility stuff, right? There's folks who would benefit from this, and I hope it gets integrated for them. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a special accessibility podcast next week, I think. It is next week, yeah. So that's going to be cool. But secondly,
I haven't been included into that. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, no problem. You'll get the email 20 minutes beforehand, wondering where you are. But the second part of this is, like, I don't know if this is true for you as well, guys, but I've been using voice interaction more and more now that it's not just because it's being pushed on us, but because it's become more convenient. Like I send a lot of texts now via voice transcription, which results in a lot of hilarity because it doesn't always get it right. But it just but
it's getting better.
It is getting better, and it's convenient enough that when I think of the alternative, which is pounding out a text with my thumbs, that seems cumbersome now.
I think they call
it depends
that
on
lazy.
the situation for me.
Yeah, I think you're right, Taylor. But go ahead, Brad.
Well, and this is all on me. Like my personal preference is to still type it out, but this is especially true for longer responses. If it's a fast response, okay. Yeah, I could probably see that. But then again, I also have stuff like SwiftKey and the stock Google keyboard that, for swift responses, I can crank those things out super fast.
Right.
But in terms of longer responses, usually that's where you want to have the voice dictation service. But for me, I always find it hard because then I just want to pause sometimes and think about what I'm saying. And sometimes that doesn't work so well with dictation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to pre-think, I guess, almost like script what you're going to say.
True.
And it's a concept change. As we do it more, we'll think more about it, and it'll become innate. But as a learning curve, it's interesting because Michael and I actually both did this challenge. We weren't working for the same companies. I was at Phone Dog. He was at Pocketnow. We had not talked about it. We had not conversed whatsoever. And at the exact same time, the same week, we did the same test where we both limited ourselves to, on our phones, using nothing but voice dictation to type words. That means to correct the words that were misspelled using dictation, to insert numbers, anything and everything, to call someone, to send emails. It was all voice dictation. And
I forgot
the result,
that.
The result was that, it's getting better. It's getting a lot better. And this was over a year ago, but the problem is that it's different. One, you lose privacy. So you can't have a text message conversation with the privacy you can if you type something instead of talking it out, because if you speak it out, everyone around you knows what you're talking about. Two, or they hear what you're talking about actually, and they may not know the context, which could be worse. Two, you have to think about everything you're going to say. You have to think not just 2 words in advance. You have to think all the way to the end before you start talking because you're going to get confused halfway through if you don't.
Yeah.
And if you do pause on Android, it's going to cut out, and you'll have to start it over. On an iOS, it can go through, but it times out eventually too. But it's.
I can't believe I forgot about this. This is great. I'm looking at these badly transcribed sentences that I apparently said to my phone at some point.
Yeah, and that was a really fun experiment, and I wouldn't mind doing it again. Just to see if things have changed, but that was a lot of fun, and it was funny because I posted my final thoughts on the little challenge thing I did, and then Michael tweeted me. He's like, "No way, there's no way you did that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "I did too." The same week.
Oh, look, you guys, two peas in a pod.
Yeah, I know.
That's how Michael and I came together.
That's right. We were duplicates from across the pond.
He would write something, and I would write something, and then I would call him out like
the same thing. Yeah,
or vice versa. We did that all the time.
It was awesome. Well, so that's that's not exactly an answer, Jason, but it's sort of an answer. I think we're going to see more and more of it, and I think you guys said it better than I could, so I think we should wrap up listener mail with something from James Cook. I guess it's my turn, isn't it?
Go for it.
No, it's Taylor's turn.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
Hello, James Cook. Dear Pocketnow team, with the release of the Nexus 5 last week, which is the second time LG has made a Nexus phone, I'd like to know what your thoughts are about who would be the next likely OEM to build the next Nexus phone and why you think they should be would be a good choice. Thanks for being such a great team. Love what you do. Keep up the great work. Kind regards, James Cook, a.k.a. Zodiarc Fang?
Zodiarc Fang, that's what I'm saying.
Zodiarc Fang on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Zodiac Fang, for
crazy accent.
Yeah, like I wanted to say Zodiac, and then I'm like, there's an R in there. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing because we talk about this every time a new Nexus comes out. Samsung had 2, HTC had 1, and now LG has had 2. So who's going to be the next one? Is it going to be Motorola? Probably not. Because Google, why would Google need to do that? They pretty much already have their own little hardware line, so they don't need to do that. Honestly, HTC is the only company that comes to mind. That's the company I vote for the next Nexus. Why? Because they make fantastic hardware. Fantastic hardware. And HTC knows, they are all well aware that we all, at least the tech journalism world, wants an HTC Nexus again.
Yeah, and they'll do it for us.
Yeah, they made yes, they will. They made that very clear on Twitter.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
And I agree. Clear to them.
I have a hunch that HTC will be the next one, and it seems as though Google has been on this cycle of just one OEM for every 2 Nexuses or Nexi. They started off with HTC and then struck this deal with Samsung, I guess, right. And then they've just been doing 2 each ever since. It does make me wonder if that's going to be the same thing that happens with HTC. You never know.
Yeah, well, that would be a very interesting point in time. I mean, I would love 2 years in a row of solid HTC hardware, but I guess my question is, do we need that anymore now that we have this this Google Play Edition program?
Oh, we don't.
We do and we don't, because it's different. The Play Edition hardware is not Nexus price.
Right, it's not Nexus price, and it's also, as has been demonstrated this week, it's also not right on point with updates. Because
exactly.
We're still waiting. Yeah.
And with the Google Play Edition devices, they're actually very noticeably not Nexus devices in that you can't take advantage of all the hardware features that they have, or at least most of them. You can have infrared was not originally going to be supported, correct? HTC One came with it, but it was kind of like up in the air. Like, are we going to get it? We were up in the air over Beats Audio, but there were things that it just didn't support, if I'm not mistaken.
And infrared will be supported on KitKat, so.
Yeah,
that problem will be resolved, but I do get your point.
Yeah, so you get hardware that was designed for the Synth experience and hardware that was designed for the TouchWiz experience, and then you slap something else on it. And it's kind of like slapping on, CyanogenMod on something. It's awesome. The software is great, but you also don't get all the features that really sold that phone to begin with. And with a Nexus, you don't have to worry about that because the phone is sold for that hardware.
For the specific software purpose, right. Yeah, the Google Play Edition is, by comparison, a little bastardized. It's kind of like a why not kind of move. But
you just summed up everything I said in like 800 words in 3. So sweet.
Sometimes it works. But yeah, I would love to see a Motorola one. But once again, we have that offshoot too. So it's funny. Like, we spent so long, guys, as tech bloggers, as tech readers, as tech fans, saying, "Oh, the Nexus program's awesome. What if this? What if this? What if it broadened in these ways?" And now we're sort of living in that world where we've got the legit Nexus phones, we've got the Google Play Edition stuff, and we have whatever's going on with Motorola, which is totally different. And that's pretty cool because of that's a very powerful portfolio of options to put in front of nerds and then be like, "Hey, give us money." Which is exactly what's happening. Of course, that's not really the point, but, hey.
What? No way. No way. This is cool. Okay, so this is something
I knew you were reading something else because you left me hanging.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, reading, no way. You're just like trying to disagree with them on something.
Yeah. Taylor, whatever it is, say it quickly.
Yeah, I will. So Gran Turismo 6, which is... I can't wait for it. But anyway, there's a feature called Course Maker in the game in which you can create custom tracks. So it's a racing game. You can create custom tracks that actually they're built using GPS coordinate data from the mobile app, so the companion app. So where you go, you can create tracks based on where you drive.
This is your revenge for Brad and me talking about Star Trek before, isn't it?
It is. It is. Are you both snoring yet?
Yeah,
because I can keep talking.
Brad actually died. So
I just think that's really cool. I'm a huge fan of like the second screen or companion app experience. So you know what, Michael? Screw you, buddy. Go back to your Star Trek nonsense.
All right.
Don't you have some kind of like tricoder knockoff that you can play with?
I do. I have like 7. Brad.
That's sad.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
You probably also wear a onesie to bed, right?
I will as soon as I get one for Christmas. I really am looking forward to
you
those.
know what Taylor's getting them.
Wait, what? What did you
Never mind.
say?
No, actually, I didn't hear. Skype played a nasty joke, and we did not hear you.
I said, well, we all know what Taylor's getting Michael for Christmas now.
That's exactly right. Oh, it's a secret.
Yeah. I'm actually going to get him Gran Turismo 6.
That would be great. Thank you. And a console to run it on.
No.
We have a clock that is not on our side. We also have, perhaps fortunately, an audience that is heavily disinterested in Apple at Pocketnow, which confuses me because I just adore some of the things that Apple's doing. My point in all this is, let's cover the iPad Air quickly. You gentlemen both have them. I do not. It seems to be, it's been written by you, Brad, that it's the best iPad ever and one of the most comfortable 10-inch tablets ever. Can you expound on that a little bit?
I can. It's incredibly light and crazy thin. Honestly, they've taken the iPad mini design and thrown it into the iPad Air, and it's worked out very, very well. And the thing about it is, yes, it is the best iPad that I've played with, and there's kind of really, it's an obvious statement though, because I mean, like the Nexus 5 is the best Nexus I've played with. You know, it's like it's the latest and greatest. They've improved a lot of the stuff that they need to improve on. But I do like the overall design a lot more than the previous lineup of iPads. And I also like what they're doing with the iPad Air and the iPad Mini. It's basically the iPad Mini is now truly a miniature version of the iPad.
Yeah.
And
I have admittedly not read your review because I'm reviewing it.
Look for the Easter eggs.
I don't read people's reviews before I review something because I don't want to be influenced by someone else's opinion. I want my own.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't read through it. I'm looking through it right now, not reading words. And
so but I think you guys are of a mind on this because
he's actually he stole words out of my head. I wrote the script for it yesterday, so my video review will actually go up on Friday. If Jaime finishes the video review, then it might go up sooner.
Right.
But the full review will be up on Friday. I will say this: my next to last line in the video review is, frankly, it's one of the best tablets we've ever laid hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I said one of. I really mean it's probably the best. I mean, when you consider...
You just don't want to sound like an Apple fanboy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I said
one of the best. Come on, guys. Come on.
It has flaws, just as any other product out there does. I don't want to say it doesn't, but the flaws are so few and far between that it's hard not to get excited over this thing. And it's not that much better than before, except for it is in ways that I think most people are overlooking because they haven't held one.
Well, you did the iPad Air versus old iPad, which, by the way, is like my favorite headline of any of our videos.
Yeah. So
I thought for certain I was going to see like iPad Air versus iPad 3 2012 edition or something.
Yeah, well, we talked about the headline, Tony and I, and immediately it didn't matter how we did it. We had an iPad 3, we have an iPad 4, we don't have it here in Charlotte. So there was a logistical problem we had. So we compared it with the iPad 3, and if we ran the headline as iPad Air versus iPad 3, the comments were immediately going to be, "You guys are stupid. Why are you going to compare it to an old
comparison? Thumbs down."
That's always the thing. Like, why would we compare it to last year's model anyway? Right. Because people want to know. And last year's models, there were 2 from last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's It's okay. Get over it.
Yeah. So no, I do love the thing though. But the reason that I wasn't sad to send you that iPad was, and Brad, you can probably agree here. I think everyone in the world agrees that thing was just too heavy.
Yes. Like beside the iPad Air, it's like, how did I ever pick this thing up? Like, the iPad Air is going to make me weak.
So it sounds a lot like the iPad Air is like you said, Brad. It's taking the iPad Mini experience to a larger display, and that seems to include this notion of like when you pick it up, it doesn't feel real because it feels too light.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. It's weird because you almost feel like it should be a Toys R Us toy.
Right. Yeah. That's
and you pick it up,
Mini, yeah.
but it's super solid. And like honestly, I'm not huge on 10-inch tablets. You know, I've reviewed quite a few in my time, and I get that there's a lot of great things that you can do with it. Just the amount of content that you can consume on it. You're watching movies and you can do like documents, and there's a lot of great things that you can do these days. And you slap a wireless keyboard on there, and you really can do a lot of tasks that you normally would have to do on your desktop. And it's not necessarily a desktop replacement per se. But for me, the reason why I don't typically like 10-inch tablets is it is just still too big and awkward for me. And I'm going around all the time. Like I'm going into the city several times a week.
Sure.
And just moving around, like all these places that I'm going, it just feels like too much to bring with me. I need to have something a little bit smaller, a little bit more portable. And so that's why I like the miniature size. Anything 7 to 8 inch is right there in my target zone.
Same here.
10 inch to me feels more like it's a tablet that you would just leave on the coffee table, and you can pick it up whenever you're bored, and you can just you can watch some YouTube videos or Netflix or read a book or something.
Right, but it's not the out on the town device.
Yeah, see, I go through phases where I feel the same exact way, but back when I was writing 3 and 4 editorials a day, I was doing 95 to 99% of the writing I was doing on an iPad. And that's not with a keyboard. That was with the on-screen keyboard, and that was my preferred way to write.
You're a crazy person, really?
Yeah,
wow.
It just after I got used to it, it was just like, man, this is great because I don't have to carry anything else with me. I could go to a coffee shop and take nothing but an iPad.
Sure.
And the app that really made me switch to typing from the iPad is IA Writer, and it's because it has controls that extend the keyboard. So they look just like the keyboard, and they're not actually part of the keyboard, but it has like jump one word forward and arrow buttons to navigate around. It's got a lot of extended functionality, and that's my preferred way to write. And I actually wrote the script on the iPad, and it was really nice going back to that. And I promised on Twitter that I will write the full review, which will probably be around 3,500 words. I will write that from the iPad entirely. Because I just
kudos.
It's
punishment.
No, it's not punishment.
No, I know.
That's why I go back and forth. I had a point in that, Michael.
I know you had a point.
Because I can't type like that on a 7-inch tablet, and I love 7-inch tablets, but I find them kind of limited in what I can do because of the size.
Because the screen size gets a little confined.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going back to an iPhone after a big like Android superphone.
Yeah, but then I go through phases, and I'm like, man, this thing's too big. Screw this. I'm going to carry this tablet. And then I'm like, oh, I can't type on. So I'm back and forth all the time.
The problem with 10-inch tablets has been that they've been too cumbersome. They've been too big. They've been too whatever heavy. But we've all, guys, I think all three of us have used things like the Xperia Tablet Z, right? Which is really lightweight, really thin, really awesome.
It's so giant.
Have you used it, Brad? Did you review it for Engadget?
I did not actually.
Oh, well, I mean, it's massive in acreage, yes, but it's so thin. It's like a wafer, and it's so light, and then it also happens to be waterproof. So I guess that's my question. Assuming the iPad Air is the new best lightweight 10-inch tablet, what would be your immediate first runner-up? I'm guessing because not everyone's going to go buy this.
Runner-up for me,
yeah, you will have to try the Tablet Z.
The runner-up for me is the Note 10.1, the new one.
That's got to be because of utility.
Yeah, because of the utility, and that's why I docked some points for the iPad Air. is because with Windows tablets and Android tablets, you can run multiple applications at once using the Snap feature or Samsung's multi-window feature. iPad.
Yeah, my problem with the Note 10.1 was the sluggishness. So,
oh god, it was so bad.
It really was, and that does kind of ruin the experience for me because, like, otherwise it would have been a top-notch Android tablet. Like, it would have been one of the best out there when you factor all these things in. But when I played with it against my Nexus 10, the Nexus 10 won out pretty much every single time.
Yep.
And so for me, that's my go-to Android tablet is the Nexus 10. If I had to go with a 10-incher.
Oh,
yeah, and
I always forget about that.
Yeah, it's a good toss-up. I mean, I have actually all 4 of these tablets right now, and I have the Note 10.1, the Tablet Z,
the iPad Air,
the Nexus 10, and the iPad Air.
Wow.
And
okay, so I have a challenge for you, Taylor.
Yeah.
I can wait until after your thought.
Okay,
keep going.
I can't wait to hear this.
I don't even know what my thought was anymore.
What's the challenge, Brad?
The challenge is take 2 tablets, and you type your review out with your left hand on one tablet and your right hand on the other.
Oh my god!
Nice, like a Microsoft Split keyboard from like 1994.
Yes. Oh my gosh!
You could just drape them across a beach ball or something.
Yeah, and you know what? You
accepted, bro.
you get the new Swift key where you can split the keyboard up.
Perfect.
And you could do it.
I love it.
And then you throw in a third tablet with the symbols, so you don't have to even worry about going to the symbols.
And maybe just
the 4th tablet needs to be the external display.
I was going to say, no, the 4th tablet can be the external display. The 5th tablet, though, has to be like a really long, slim tablet for the numeric row up top.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got a final question on the iPad Air for you guys, and then I'll let you speak your final thoughts on it. How much do you miss the fingerprint scanner? How much do you wish it was there, or do you not?
Never use it.
I loved it on the 5S, and I would like it on the iPad Air, especially since I use a password on it.
Yeah.
But
I've never used
it wasn't in there.
Yeah, I've never used Touch ID, so I can't answer.
Yeah, it's an experience that once you start using it, it is hard to go back. Like I had the 5S for like a few days, maybe let me play around with it, and then I gave it back to her, and I started playing with my 5. And every single time I go to the password screen and I just sit there and try to do the Touch ID, even though it's not there. It's just already built into my muscle memory.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh. It really is. And so I would love to see it on an iPad. I understand that they had a lot of restraint with components, so they probably just had to wait till the next model.
Right.
But I do think it would have been really nice to have that in there, especially with the new design. It would have gone really well with it.
And I think as that technology matures and we start getting closer to this possible future of Touch ID embedded in a display, that's going to be really, really interesting, because I believe it's Apple that has a patent, a couple of patents on that. I don't think we're anywhere close to execution of that technology, but I think a tablet would be the perfect form factor to execute that on, because I still don't like home buttons on tablets, even if they are iPads, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I could use the gestures a lot better on the iPad Air, but I'll look forward to trying one. I'm doing the iPad Mini Retina, so Taylor gets to hold on to the Air for a little bit, I think.
No, it's mine.
Go ahead, Brad.
Sorry, I'm okay with a physical home button as long as it's not meshed together with capacitive buttons. So, like, I have that issue with Samsung, right, where you've got the soft keys on either side of the physical home button, and so it is kind of a hard thing to go back and forth. It's not the end of the world. People are, I'm sure, like, "Wow, that's so hard, Brad." But honestly, like, it is weird to just. You're used to doing a tap on one, and then for the thing right in the middle, you have to grip it a certain way, and then just get your thumb in there and press down.
No,
it's
just one of those minor, really weird frustrations for me, but it does happen all the time. I'm like, ugh.
No, I agree.
So it's one or the other, but not both next to each other.
Next to each other. I agree. Yeah, because you're changing the interface paradigm every time you use that button.
Yep.
Yeah, from tap and swipe to mash.
I just want to add about the iPad Air that the performance is absolutely phenomenal. Sure, every iPad before it has been okay. Like the iPad 3 was a little bit of a hiccup there, but because the A5X just couldn't handle the resolution. But the A6X was great, and this A7 is an absolute monster. In Sunspider, I ran it, and it scores in the low 300s.
Yep.
Whoa.
Which is just mind-boggling. Low 300s.
I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Well,
just figure that one out.
Yeah.
Because it's the just, I don't know.
My mother's been using a first-generation iPad, like a 2010 iPad for a while, so maybe it's upgrade time.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
That's what my wife uses.
What, a first-generation iPad, really?
Yeah, she has a first generation. It's not updated to iOS 6.
Well, that's good, so it still works.
I know, right?
just for comparison's sake, I just ran it on my MacBook, and it scores just over double what my MacBook does, which is just...
Wow.
It's crazy. It's nonsense. And the battery life is great. I have 50% left. I've been testing it for 2 days. So I unplugged it yesterday morning, and 57% left.
Brad, you took a drive around the city, right, for about 2 hours with yours?
Yes.
It's awesome. I mean, what was it down to when you were done with that? Were you navigating the whole time?
Well, I started at 70%, and it was 2 hours in rush hour traffic. So, like, the screen was just stayed on. It was just sitting there most of the time. Yeah. It just says, like, crawled along. If you've ever been in the Bay Area, like, any time during the day ever, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And so I did this. I had a little 2 hour commute getting back home, and it went down from 70 to 30. And the screen was on... I want to say it was on full brightness the whole time.
So that's 20% an hour with the screen on full brightness and the GPS engaged the whole time.
Yeah,
that's still pretty good.
Like, honestly, the battery, I had no problem with the battery for anything else. Like, it lasts really, really long.
That's awesome.
What I think is the most impressive part is that the Note 10.1 and the iPad Air are almost the exact same size. So the difference is just like 1 or 2 millimeters in every direction. It's just they're almost the same size, and the Note 10.1 is 7.9 millimeters thick. The iPad Air is 7.5. Wow. So you've got this very similar size. The iPad Air is made of aluminum and feels just super high end, and the Note 10.1 is made of plastic and feels moderately high end, like most Samsung devices. The iPad Air weighs 469 grams. The Note 10.1 is 540. Wow. So you've got this 70-gram difference in a device that feels less high-end. So it feels heavier. It's heavier, and the performance isn't as great. The battery isn't as great. It doesn't feel as great. I mean, it's just...
And with the iPad Air, I didn't have any problems with overheating. I don't know what your experience was like, Taylor, but...
I have none.
It's actually really nice.
Yeah, none so far.
Yeah, I know that's been a problem with older iPads, though. So
is it really?
Yep.
I've never had an overheating issue on my 3.
I haven't had that, and the charging is back to normal speeds because it doesn't have as large a battery in it.
Oh,
it has,
sure.
The battery is the battery is 32.4 watt hours versus 42.3 or something. So they've cut that without losing battery life. So I mean, everything is up and better than before. So
it sounds exactly like the iPad I would buy. And I'm very glad that we've seen that big improvement, because I was very tired of the old, heavy form factor. And it sounds like if you drop the iPad Air on your nose while you're reading in bed, you will not break your face.
It's like a feather.
Yeah, that's nice.
People have been asking me about it because they know, like, they see it and they're like, that looks like an iPad, but it doesn't. Something's different. Something's off. And it's because it has that 16:9 aspect ratio. Even though the display is 4:3, it has the body of a 16:9 because they shaved the sides off. And people, they're like somebody walked up to me and be like, is that an iPad? Like, So I'm like, yeah. And I hand it to them. And they're like, oh, this isn't that much smaller or lighter than the other one. And I take it out of the case because I've got the smart case, the Apple smart case, right, which is $80 freaking.
Doesn't matter.
And but I took it out of there and I handed it to him. The guy's like, whoa, like, wow, this is really lightweight. This is small and thin. I mean, it's I think it's hard to convey all of that in video and in words. And the only way to really show people is for them to pick it up themselves when it's not attached to a cable or,
Yeah.
So.
True.
Well, I want to ask before we thank you for that info there, because I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on one, but I haven't yet. Brad, do you have some closing thoughts? We're coming up on 2 hours, as Taylor Martin so skillfully predicted. Yeah, we usually go pretty long, but we don't go 2 hours. So this has been a lot to talk about, though, and I really appreciate you sticking with us.
You get me talking about phone stuff, and I can go.
There's a reason his Twitter handle is Phone Wisdom.
Love it.
Stop it.
Oh, you spoiled it, too.
Stop it some more. But yeah, just the fact that we didn't even cover everything about the Nexus 5, and we went on for an hour and a half about it.
I know.
Just really says a lot.
Which is crazy. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I wish we could have talked longer about it, but you will just have to go ahead and read Brad's review and then read my review when it goes up, and you will have even more fuel for your Nexus 5 desires, thoughts.
And I would say read my iPad Air review, but people they don't care about the iPad Air.
Oh, they do.
The what Air? I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I will say that the
let Brad say something. So go ahead, Brad.
I'm just doing an awesome teaser.
Yay!
And it's also a plug for my review. But I also have in my hands a Galaxy Round.
Oh, nice!
That I'll be reviewing sometime next week. So
how round is it?
Keep an eye out. It's actually not that round.
No, it's not that round. Yeah.
No.
It's very subtle. Very subtle.
Have you tried to flex it like the LG Flex?
Oh, God. Oh, I didn't even watch that video. It made me so sad inside. I'm like, no, don't do that to the Flex. Don't do that.
There's a reason why LG is staying quiet on that. Is because they don't want everybody doing it.
Brad, I'm curious. I don't know. You don't have to answer this if it's weird insider stuff, but did you have to petition to get the Galaxy Round? Did you have to sell that idea, or is that something that Engadget wanted to cover?
No, it's something that we want to cover, and we usually try to go through the companies themselves for review units.
Sure, yeah, that's true.
But there are times where we will go through other parties to get it. In this case, we got it through Negri Electronics.
Yeah, I thought so. We get a lot of our stuff through Negri. They're great, and
yeah,
I saw that Techno Buffalo had snapped one up, and I think that's one I'm in love with the Flex, so I would really love to get my hands on that thing. The Round, I never really compelled me. Normally, I'm the guy on the team who's like, guys, we have to get this. I don't care what we have to spend. I don't care where we have to go. We have to get that. And I saw the Rounds going out, and I'm like, oh, I should have gotten on that boat. But then I was like, no. So I'm like, I can't wait to see your thoughts on it. You're going to do a video, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I kind of have to.
Yeah, you got to. For the Round, it deserves it. It deserves the treatment.
I will figure out a way to do it. Just the trip to Expand is going to be kind of crazy, but
yeah,
I will find a way.
Well, listen, I want you to have a good time at Expand. I'm sorry that I cannot be there. I really want to be there now, but say hi to Jordy for me.
All right, we'll do.
And have a ball. But really, thank you for coming on the show as well, first of all.
Well, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure to be on here, and I always love talking to you guys about phone stuff, so anytime.
Likewise. Yeah, I wanted to pay back the favor.
Yes.
I had a blast on the Engadget podcast. I really did.
So Taylor, did I think I interrupted a thought of yours, and I don't know if it's too late to revisit that, but just wanted to make sure you forget.
I have a hamster attention span disorder. So when somebody interrupts me, it's totally justified because I interrupt everyone else.
All you do is interrupt people. Yes,
your fault. That is totally your fault. I obey commands. So yeah, when something comes up, I usually just move on and forget about it because fly flies by my face or something blips on my computer.
There's another Pocketnow Weekly coming next week, and you will be able to share your experience then. Write it down. Use a note-taking app.
That fly flew by my face so slowly.
So slowly. Also, in other breaking news, I've actually just submitted my Foodler order, so we definitely do have to go, because I got a buffalo chicken panini coming to my door. It's going to be great.
Bam.
Yeah, right? I want to thank not just the both of you gentlemen. I want to thank everybody who stuck with us for this very long podcast. I hope you enjoyed some of it. Congratulations once again to our winner of our Nexus 5. Hooray! And please, 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 if you like giveaways, please stay tuned because we're going to be doing some other stuff. And please visit Brad. If you've never read stuff from Brad, never seen his videos, visit him at Engadget. We've got a link to his editor page in the description.
Phone Wisdom is my Twitter.
I was just going to ask you for that. I knew I was forgetting something. Phone Wisdom, all one word, no underscores or anything like that. So, thank you. And do follow him because he's fun. Let's go have fun on Twitter, dudes. What do you say?
Yeah,
it's a party.
I enjoy your pop culture references that I don't understand most of the time.
Well, let's go to Twitter. Taylor can talk about a racing game I don't play, and
NASCAR.
You and I can trade thoughts on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It'll be fun.
I had to throw that in there. I got just called out like by a bunch of people on Twitter for not saying NASCAR in the last podcast.
NASCAR.
Really?
NASCAR.
It's weird. It's one of those things.
I don't know.
It's not racing. It's NASCAR.
NASCAR.
I said it once, and then it just kind of stuck. And now, if I don't say it, people get upset.
I mean, longer.
We're from North Carolina, right? So it's like in your
required
contract.
It has to be said.
I live in NASCAR country. If I don't say it on the podcast, NASCAR sues me.
In addition to Phone Wisdom on Twitter, Taylor is at Casper Tech, and as always, you can find me at Captain Two Phones. Everyone, follow Pocket Now officially, please, at Pocket Now on Twitter, as Pocket Now on Instagram, Facebook, and Google+. And you can share opinions with other listeners online at forums.pocketnow.com, NASCAR or no. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes or Xbox Music, especially you new folks, please. And if you have a topic, a question, or suggestion for the show, or you just want to say hello, please email us a brief message at podcast@pocketnow.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you, as always, next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
And
how long do you want to do this for?
I think generally I say we aim for an hour and then we go to 90 minutes. So what we can do is if you have a hard out, if you have to pack and stuff or whatever, just let me know.
Yeah, basically 5 hours.
Yeah, we're just going to go till midnight Eastern. So
also, I giggled a little when you said hard out.
Yes.